Welcome to the Innovation's fourth Meet the Finalist virtual reception. We have a fun and interesting hour planned, and as we introduce each of the finalists in the COVID-19 response category, a new category for Innovision. In the spring, as the virus spread and uncertainty was rampant, we at Innovision marveled at the innovative responses we saw throughout South Carolina by innovative groups, people like you. We decided to launch a new award category to recognize the many innovative teams and organizations. We had so many nominations and applications that we opted to split this category actually into 3 subcategories. So today we will introduce 10 finalists in 3 areas: technology research, technology deployment, and community service. So our plan today is to introduce Amy Robichaud, a member of the founding team of Innovision and the current chair of the board. And then after Amy has a chance to give some introductory remarks, then we will ask each of the lead spokespeople for the finalists to introduce themselves, any other members of their team that are on the call today. And then I'm going to allocate 2 minutes for them to be able to explain their innovation to us. And Erin, who we've talked about already, will hold up a card when there's 1 minute left, and then she'll show an exclamation point when there's 30 seconds left. And then she'll do something kind of funky when your time is up. How's that? So if that all sounds good, are we ready to go? All right. Fantastic. All right, Amy, you want to kick us off?
Yes, thank you, Michael, and welcome everyone. We're glad you could join us today to celebrate the innovative spirit and excellence of the 2020 Innovision COVID-19 response finalists. As Michael said, the application responses for this category exceeded what we expected, and we saw that as an indication of the spirit of South Carolina innovators as they see needs and develop solutions. And of course, this afternoon, we're honoring all of you whose achievements and actions rose to the level of an Innovision finalist. Innovision was founded with the mission to highlight, promote, and foster innovation in South Carolina. And that continues to be our North Star. We couldn't do this without the sponsors that we have. You can see some of those listed above on the screen. Contech is the award celebration sponsor. SCRA is the sponsor of this entire Meet the Finalist series, and Belux is also a Meet the Finalist sponsor. Our sponsors also include award sponsors, and I believe, Michael, you have that slide as well.
I do. Hopefully everyone can see it.
Yep, okay. And the South Carolina Research Authority is, as I said, the headline sponsor for this series. We really appreciate not only their sponsorship, but also the role they play and the impact they have in South Carolina's entrepreneurial and innovation communities. I'm happy to introduce Bob Quinn, Executive Director of SCRA, who has a message for us. Bob?
The South Carolina Research Authority fuels our state's innovation economy by accelerating technology-enabled growth in academia, entrepreneurship, and industry. We do this through the work of our 4 programs: SC Academic Innovations, SC Facilities, SC Industry Solutions, and SC Launch. We have sponsored the Innovision Awards for many years, and it is our sincere pleasure to sponsor this inaugural Meet the Finalists webinar series. The pivot to a series of virtual events rather than one finalist reception gathering actually provides us more time to hear about each finalist. We are passionate about innovation and are always energized and encouraged by the achievements of the Innovision finalists. We already have a relationship with many of you, and we are looking forward to hearing from those we have yet to meet.
Okay, thank you, Bob, and thank you, Amy. I think it's time for us to get started. So I'm going to start with the first category, the technology research category. And the COVID-19 response technology research area recognizes research that is currently underway and focused on COVID-19 related concerns. We have 4 finalists in this category, and they are all associated with Clemson University and include students from both Clemson and USC. So let's start with a group from Clemson's Mechanical Engineering Department, the Clemson Autonomous Systems team, and Alex is going to give us, introduce his team as well as give us some insight into that innovation. Alex?
All right, thank you. Hopefully you guys can see my screen. I'm sharing it now. And we are the Clemson Autonomous Systems team. My team members in the chat today are Duncan McCain, Connor Willoughby, Brandon Wingard, and Jonathan Daniel. And we're led by our faculty advisor, Dr. Yiqiang Han. And without further ado, I'll get started. So, sorry about that. All right, so most autonomous delivery robots only operate in densely populated urban areas. However, 55% of Americans live in suburban neighborhoods. Last mile logistics dominates operating costs and puts workers at risk. We set out to design an autonomous system that can help reduce human-to-human contact while strengthening supply chain logistics for last mile delivery in suburban communities. Since COVID-19, delivery volume has increased, causing significant delays, making 2-day delivery feel more like 2-week delivery. Our solution to this problem is Milu and Waldo. Milu is our autonomous ground vehicle, which is broken up into 2 parts. The chassis contains the drivetrain, sensors, and the package conveyor system. And the cargo area features a magazine-style shelving system that can be restocked with packages while out on delivery. Waldo is our autonomous drone. It is developed with Milu and recharges itself between stops. When a package needs to be delivered, the conveyor system loads the package out onto the front of the launch pad, where Waldo grabs the package, makes the hop over to the designated delivery site at the residence. While ground vehicles have great range and carrying capacity, they have difficulty traversing the final steps of delivery in suburban areas compared to a drone. Milu and Waldo work together to deliver packages safely and efficiently. We're currently prototype testing, which involves developing and testing autonomous path planning, mapping, localization, human interaction, and dynamic obstacle avoidance algorithms. In the future, carriers such as Amazon, UPS, and FedEx could greatly benefit from our solution. So we want to thank everybody at Innovision for selecting us to be a finalist for this award, and to all the sponsors who made this possible. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Alex. Our second finalist is a team with Clemson University's Bioengineering Department, and they represent the Negative Pressure Chamber Project. And Robert Falconer is going to introduce that team as well as tell us about that project. Robert?
Hi, thanks, Michael. So as you said, my name is Robert, and I'm here with Amanda Lamatti, representing Clemson's Bioengineering Department. We also work with Dr. Desjardins at Clemson and Dr. Michella at Prisma Health. Together, we've developed the covering for operations for viral emergency response, also known as the cover device.
The cover is a low-cost, portable isolation chamber that fits over the torso of the patient. It uses directed airflow and filtration to create a barrier between the patient and the surrounding clinical environment. This prevents the spread of COVID-19 or any other respiratory illness in hospital settings. This has a dual effect of protecting clinical staff and reducing spread of COVID to the rest of the room, lowering cleaning costs and decreasing room turnaround time.
We began work on this project back in March when we were approached by Prisma Health clinicians. They demonstrated a need for an isolation chamber to combat the widespread personal protective equipment shortage. To solve this problem, we developed a device using only materials that can be found at an average hardware store.
And since March, we've created dozens of prototypes with inputs from our clinical collaborators at Prisma Health. We've conducted flow testing, particulate testing, and clinical usability surveys to ensure the efficacy and ease of use of the cover. Our current model costs less than $250 to produce and can be used multiple times, lowering the cost per usage to less than $15.
We currently have multiple devices deployed at Prisma Health's emergency department where we're continuing to receive feedback on the design. Because our device has further applications for any disease transmitted through airborne particulate matter, we are hoping to finalize a design for commercialization. We've also applied for a patent, which is currently pending.
We'd like to thank the Innovision Awards for the opportunity to participate in this year's competition and share the project we've been working on with you all. Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you, Amanda and Robert. That's really exciting. Our third group is from Clemson's chemistry department, the COVID microbead screening project. And Alessia is going to tell us about that project.
Hi, I'm Alessia, and I will be introducing our project today. So our team consists of students from both Clemson and University of South Carolina. We also have a few graduate students from Clemson's chemistry department. We work under Dr. Anker, who's been a great mentor for the past few months. And we also work with Dr. Moshella from Prisma Health, as well as Dr. Brandon McNaughton from Acadium Life Sciences, and their company makes and sells buoyant microbeads. So our goal for this project is to develop a point-of-care COVID-19 test that meets the World Health Organization's assured criteria. So this means that this test needs to be affordable, sensitive, specific, user-friendly, rapid and robust, equipment-free, and deliverable to end users. The time factor is really important in this situation because the faster a test can deliver results, the faster an infected individual can go into isolation to protect other people. So to detect the virus, we are using both buoyant and magnetic microbeads, and these are functionalized with antibodies that specifically target and bind to the SARS coronavirus 2 nucleocapsid protein, which is present in a patient's saliva. And this would form buoyant and magnetic, or BAM complexes. So these complexes consist of a buoyant microbead and magnetic microbead bound to a single viral protein through antibodies. A magnet is used to pull these complexes and the unbound magnetic beads to the side of a container, separating them from the non-magnetic and unbound buoyant beads. The magnet is then removed, allowing the complexes to rise to the surface, while the non-buoyant, unbound magnetic particles sink to the bottom. So these rising complexes are typically in quantities that are visible to the naked eye, but smaller quantities can be detected using a video capture and MATLAB program that can track the motion of individual particles. Because this test does not require any complex equipment, it is ideal for mass production. Ultimately, we hope this user-friendly test will help streamline testing in a variety of settings by delivering results within minutes. Thank you.
Thank you. That was quite a description. I'm glad that I didn't have to describe that. Our last finalist in this category is from another team from the Clemson Bioengineering Department, the COVID Biomarker Detection Test Project. And Habib is going to tell us more, introduce your team, as well as tell us about that project.
Hey everyone, my name is Habib and I'm a part of the Clemson University Biomarker Detection Test Project. Members from our team are here participating right now. Isabella Kamiaski, Jacob Steiniger, Grace Joyner, and Melinda Busman from the University of South Carolina, and our faculty mentor, Dr. Dean. So our urine-based detection test works by testing for specific biomarkers that become elevated in patients' urine disease. Our test features 4 biomarkers, 2 of which that indicate general viral infection, 1 that can differentiate between bacterial infection and viral infections, and 1 that is more specific to COVID-19. What sets our device apart is that it's designed to be point of care, able to do it at your own home with results available within minutes. It's important to keep in mind that this test is not a replacement for the gold standard diagnostic test with RT-PCR. Instead, it provides a solution to screen large amounts of people with the intent to ease the stress of not knowing if you could be a carrier for the virus and infect loved ones. A positive test is encouraged to be confirmed with the gold standard RT-PCR, and a negative test can provide and reassure you that you are not carrying the virus if you're asymptomatic. We are currently in the lab right now designing a prototype for our test. And we thank Innovision for giving us this opportunity to showcase our research.
Habib, thank you. That's another excellent project. Okay, so thank you, both students and faculty. We are really impressed to see such creativity from that segment and how quickly you've organized your research to focus on an immediate problem. That is really exciting. So let's move on to the second category of the COVID-19 response finalist. And this one focused on technology development. This means they are moving forward with an innovation designed to address one of the challenges of the COVID crisis. We have 3 finalists in this area, and we can start with, do we have someone from Blue Eyed Soft?
Oh, yes, Michael. Sorry, I was late by a minute, but back here.
Okay, great. Well, you can do you have any other members of your team? If not, tell us about your innovation and tell us about your company as well.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Michael. Hi, everyone. It's absolutely a pleasure and honor to be part of this elite team over here. So I'm the founder and CEO of Blue Eye Soft. We are an SCRAC launch company, Inosphere Ventures and Air Force Research Labs Space Accelerator. We were focusing on the space using artificial intelligence satellite coalition. When pandemic started, we were able to quickly take UDRI's University of Dayton product and license it within 2.5 days, and then create up this product. We have a provisional patent. So we were able to detect COVID-19 in 16 seconds. So basically I was called for active duty, but we were working with military to make sure this possible. This was the first pandemic thing as well. So we worked with a couple of military customers over there to really go ahead and save the product in a fast pace. Creating product in a fast pace is pretty quick and necessary. So it actually happens through, we have different case scenarios. During a March, RT-PCR swabs were the process, but the only quick scalable solution was using technology to give out there. We try to focus on triaging, early decision making, and disease progression as well. So it's just upload an X-ray image, we process the image, AI actually identifies this, and you can see whether the patient has COVID or not. So we worked with various companies, around like 17 countries worked with us. So we were supported by Amazon, Lockheed Martin. We received NASA's iTech semi-finalist award. So currently we are doing various, over 27 different companies, as we mentioned. I think this is what we accomplished within 4 months of period. It's not just COVID. We went on to various diseases, partnered with Oracle, Konica Minolta, Microsoft, Amazon, and 27 companies came to support BES to make this as a reality. 4 from legal, 5 from marketing. Regulatory is the key. We worked with at least 7 regulatory firms to be where we are. And we applied for FDA's EUA. We were called as the novel product. There was no predicate device in the market. As of today, at the request of FDA, we are doing a pilot and a reader study with the Medical University of South Carolina. We had signed contracts with over 8 different countries.
Super. Shrikant, that was a great description.
Thank you.
Next, yeah, thank you. Next, we have Hawaii. Who would like to speak for Hawaii today?
Hey, it's Ralph Holzman. Can you hear me?
I can, Ralph. Hey, welcome.
Okay, excellent. I have this nice new microphone, and thank you. Thanks for the honoring us. So Hawaii, we make friction surfaces mainly for medical devices. So we make things really slippery or really grippy. And typically we work on things like this, which is an esophageal stent if you have throat cancer or car accident or something similar. And the problem we solve is we keep them from sliding in your body. And yet no stitches or hooks or anything traumatic is required, just our little micropillars on the surface. And so our story is on March 13th, the White House gave a request to, can companies make PPA and similar items? And I challenged our team of what can we do? And our friction engineers quickly thought, well, collecting cells from inside your cavity can be thought of as a friction problem, and maybe our microsurfaces could help. And we found out that one of the big barriers of scaling up swabs is that the short fiber tip swabs that are commonly used require proprietary equipment. There at the time was only one US producer, Puritan in Maine, and that proprietary equipment was limiting scale up. So our innovation is making a injection molded swab, and here it is, and I'll try and hold it up to the camera so you can sort of see the little fuzzy tip on it. So this is injection molded, can be made in any medical injection molding facility. And we get great reviews of our swabs, that the rubbery tip is very comfortable. It's an uncomfortable, unpleasant test, and we make it as comfortable as possible. And more importantly, we test just as well as the best swabs on the market, the best flock swab. So we are interchangeable in all the standard tests. We sell primarily to kitters, that is people making COVID-19 test kits. And second channel is selling to large consumers like hospitals. And third channel is selling to major distributors. So we are now producing at a rate of millions of a year, and looking on making this a permanent long-term business for us, because we really do have a better widget. So that's our story, and thanks very much for the nomination, and I hope none of you have to use these. Thanks.
I hope so too. Thank you, Ralph. Our last technology deployment finalist is Lancer Health Technologies, a recent spinoff from the bioengineering department at Clemson. And Justin is going to introduce his team as well as tell us about their innovation.
All righty. Hello, everyone. My name is Justin Napolitano, and I'm representing Lancer Health Technologies. With me today, I also have Andrew Rifkin, Daniel Zega, Rayan Alam, and our mentor, Delphine Dean, Dr. Delphine Dean. Thank you. Our submission to the Innovation Awards was the Radiologically Enabled Anti-COVID-19 Targeting System, or REACTS. So REACTS is a treatment that involves the patient inhaling particles via a nebulizer, which then enter the lungs and attach to the virus. These particles are non-toxic and are capable of increasing the effect of radiation locally. Biological particles are not particularly dense, while radiosensitizers are extremely dense. When radiosensitizers attach to biological particles, the overall density of the particle increases, which allows the radiation to interact with the particles more frequently. After the radiosensitizers are attached, a harmless, low dose of X-ray radiation is administered to the patient. This dose is not strong enough to harm the patient, but in combination with the radiosensitizer is strong enough to deactivate the virus. With the reduction in viral load, the patient's condition would deteriorate more slowly or even improve, giving their body a better chance to fight back and recover from the virus. With tens of thousands of new cases every day, hospitals in the United States are desperate to have readily available resources. This treatment will not only directly save lives, but will also open up more hospital beds and ventilators and free up staff so that other patients' lives can also be saved. Even though REACT is considered a type 9 combination product by the FDA, most of the technology it is dependent on already exists and is commonly found in all hospitals. REACT is meant to be a low-cost, fast-acting treatment for COVID-19 that can help hospitals free up resources and shorten recovery time. With further funding, we could begin a series of experiments using a technique called qPCR to determine the optimal doses of the particle and radiation. Additionally, we would perform supplementary imaging to confirm that no unexpected results have occurred. At Lancer Health Technologies, we believe that REACT has the power to change the fight against the coronavirus as we know it. Thank you.
Justin, thank you. Okay, so that closes out the technology deployment. Now we're going to move on to the community service component of the COVID response award category. And we've got 3 finalists in this category as well. The first finalist is focused on local mom and pop businesses, a company called Save Maps. I don't think we have anyone here who represents Save Maps today. They had a conflict, but I will give you a little bit of background of what we know about Save Maps. Amongst all the problems the COVID-19 pandemic created, the lifeline of small mom and pop shops was the one of the nation's largest. Save Maps saw this issue and was determined to find a way to help guide these small businesses through the pandemic. Save Maps allowed mom and pop shops to list their store on their site for free by just filling out a form. Once they were listed, customers from around the world could continue supporting their favorite shops without leaving the safety of their homes or wherever they might be quarantined. This was soon elevated into a huge e-gift card marketplace that supported almost 1,300 businesses in 93 cities across 48 states. They kept the site running on their own dime for as long as possible, but unfortunately it was shut down after they achieved their goal of helping the restaurants sustain themselves until the lockdown was over. We are proud to say that by the end, Save Maps had helped facilitate over $65,000 worth of gift card sales in a short 6-week period. So that's pretty amazing that someone could reach out in a very specific area and provide some assistance in the community. Second, we've got the United Way of the Piedmont and their pandemic pivot. And Heather is going to introduce her team as well as tell us about that. Heather?
Yeah, so we're so excited to be nominated for this award, and we thank Innovision and we thank all of the sponsors. Selena Smith is going to be sharing a quick story of impact, but I know we have other staff members from United Way on. I saw Paige Stevenson, our CEO, and our Director of Financial Stability, Hannah Jarrett's on. So there's a pretty strong team that was helping deliver our service. So our innovation was our rapid response to the community needs that we saw through COVID. Particularly over the past 8 months through our United for All Fund, we've been able to provide direct assistance to over 540 families, so helping them stay housed. These were families that were self-sufficient, but they were furloughed or lost their employment during the shutdown. We've been able to provide over $428,000 in support, providing rent mortgage assistance, utility assistance. And Selena Smith, one of our community resource coordinators that provided that assistance, is going to share a quick story. So Selena?
During the United for All assistance calls, I was able to connect with a divorced mom of two who had just started to get back on her feet when COVID hit. So when she called 211, she had exhausted all of her savings and she was desperately seeking her unemployment benefits. Because of the help she was able to get from the United Way, she was able to keep a roof over her and her children's head. She stated that before she had also given herself to the United Way Workplace campaign, but didn't truly understand the impact of United Way until she was in need herself. She's currently back working and she's received financial as well as budgeting and management coaching from the CRC program. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Heather and Selena. In fact, for those of you who are joining us, you might note that Heather is sporting one of the awards that we have given to the finalists. And so it actually was an innovative product of one of our board members who thought, how can we in this COVID times integrate a microphone into a award trophy and actually have a useful result? So hopefully you'll enjoy using these in the time to come.
I'm going to have a hard time giving it up.
There you go. There you go. And I saw Ralph was smiling there as well. That's great. Okay. So we have one more finalist. Thank you, Ralph, for sporting your award there. So we have one finalist left to talk about in the community service category, and that is the Watt Family Innovation Center at Clemson University. And Susan, you're going to introduce your team as well as tell us about that innovation.
Okay, I sure will. Thank you, Michael. So I'm Susan Reeves, and I'm joined by my colleague here online by Dr. Claire Dance. And first off, we'd like to really thank the Innovision Awards for selecting us as finalists. We're just tickled to be finalists. We're so excited about that. We work for the Watt Family Innovation Center at Clemson University, and the Watt Center is one of Clemson's technologically enhanced academic buildings. So the goal of the Watt Center is to create an environment for solving complex problems. Little did we know that in late February, the complex problem we would be asked to solve was, how do we ensure the safety of the entire Clemson community during the rapidly evolving COVID-19 global pandemic? Well, it became imperative that we use all available resources and skill sets to mitigate the impact and protect the health and well-being of our community. To do this, we personally transformed a campus academic building into a fully functioning emergency operations center. The core Watt Center staff became emergency operations center staff, and we adapted the Watt Center technology to support live situational awareness of COVID-19 at the national, state, and most importantly, our local level. Claire?
Thank you, Susan. We are really excited and proud of the fact that our technology transformation allowed hundreds of diverse campus stakeholders to engage in collaborative problem solving for COVID-19. Together, we prepared and executed a pandemic response plan with community safety as paramount. The Watt Center's highly adaptive staff led the pivot from a traditional in-person emergency operations to a combination of physically distant, in-person, and virtual emergency operations with the creative use of Watt technology. While we are very much still in active emergency operations, what we've learned through our innovative use of our academic building is that adaptability is one of the most important skill sets for addressing this pandemic. We enabled other COVID-19 innovations to happen because we proactively stood up an EOC that supported collaborative community response. We continue to face unexpected challenges as COVID-19 destabilizes our world. But we know that if we think creatively and we develop innovative solutions together as a community, we can take the challenges presented and create opportunities that allow us to thrive as a community, not just today, tomorrow, and in our future. We really would like to thank the Innovision sponsors, and for our Creative Finalist Award, we are incredibly grateful to be represented among so many wonderful innovative minds.
Claire, thank you, and Susan. And well said, Claire. And I'd like to echo that. What a great group of finalists in this category. Some outstanding work has been done. And of course, there's more to be done as well. I'd also like to congratulate them on another element, and that is, this is our first Meet the Finalists session where we actually have some time to be able to ask some questions. So thank you so much for keeping to your time. I know that was tough. And so the reward here is we'll open it up for a few questions. And so therefore you'll get a little more airtime if that turns out to be. So in order to keep some level of order here, if you have a question, if you could either put it into the chat, or you can use the Zoom raise your hand technique, or you can use the old fashioned, as we do in school, right? Raise our hand up and we'll go from there. So let me see, and I can use some help from my friends here, and that I can't see all of you at once. So if I miss you, it's not that I'm doing it on purpose, but I see Amy's got a question. Amy, you want to?
Actually, while people were thinking of questions, I just wanted to acknowledge a few what I consider very special guests in the audience. Yes, I see Dr. Chris Perzimble and I see Dr. Karen St. John. And both are recipients of or honorees for our highest individual award, which is the Dr. Charles Towns Individual Achievement Award. And I think they're extremely proud right now because both, of course, were with Clemson University. So Chris and Karen, great to see you there and still enthralled with innovation.
Thank you.
What people can accomplish.
Thank you.
See your faces. I also see Dr. Delphine Dean, who was mentioned. Thank you. I also see Dr. Delphine Dean, who was, I guess, the founder of this COVID Challenge program, which spawned so many of these entries. And what a great innovation that perhaps grew to a larger stage than you ever imagined, Delphine, and will likely continue with continuing innovations.
Okay. So, any questions or comments from our group out here? Like I said, if you'd like, you can either do the old-fashioned wave your hand, you can do the Zoom waving the hand, or you can enter a question or just the fact that you'd like to ask a question in the chat section. Let's see. We've got some congratulations. So Jerry, I see you have a question here. Would you like to read your question?
Sure. Thanks, Michael. And congratulations to everyone. My question is for all the tech finalists in the first category for the amazing Clemson and USC students. I'm just curious, for all those things you're doing, are you all planning on turning your products into businesses? So will you graduate from academia to maybe SCRA, the sponsor to this, and beyond?
They're contemplating that question, Jerry.
That's a great question, Jerry. Yeah, definitely. We definitely see some marketable potential in our autonomous delivery solution. There's definitely a lot of startup companies out there right now getting some venture capital investments in that. So we're definitely leaving all options open from our side.
Okay. Any of the other finalists want to respond to that question?
We're looking into it as well, but I know certain members in our group are looking to go further on into professional school and whatnot. So we're just focused in on our prototype right now and getting that completed.
Okay, excellent. Great. Danny, I don't know if I saw your hand move there, or if you were just doing that. That's the difficult thing here is it's kind of like being in an auction, right? Make sure you don't do that nod or that hand up and you end up buying the goods, right? Okay. Do we have any other questions? Jeffrey, you got one there?
No, I thought I would answer that one.
Okay, sure.
So for the BAM project, we're working with Acadium, and some of what we're doing with the single particle analysis is novel, but they have the ability to scale up a little better. We're also working with the Sunoco Institute. So absolutely idea of commercialization, but we've got a clear path that doesn't involve making our own company because there's already a collaborator who can do that.
Okay. Excellent. Thank you. Aaron.
Thank you, Michael. Oh, just so many fascinating innovations here. What about IP? There are patents or any kind of protections on your ideas? What's the status of all of that?
So I'll go ahead and answer that for my group. So for Lancer, we have actually submitted a patent disclosure form through Clemson University, and we have had that form accepted. So we still need to go through the rest of the process, but that's in motion. And it looks like we have had some interest, and we've also are looking beyond just COVID applications of our treatment method as well. So,
excellent. Any others want to talk about how they're handling their IP? You can tell these are questions that you were so busy doing the innovation that all these business-oriented questions come later, right? Okay. Any other questions that someone might have out there?
Sorry.
Oh,
I'm always so curious. So Heather and Selena, what happens next with your fund? How long does,
Yeah. So, I mean, it's ongoing. We continue to see families that are being impacted, that are months behind on their rent mortgage. I mean, we were just able to kind of scratch the surface. So we're continuing to receive donations and provide assistance. We're also partnering with our local safety net partners So as people walk in their doors and are presenting $3,000, $4,000 bills back for their rent, mortgage, or utilities, they're not able to cover that full amount. So our partners then send a request to us, and we're working together. So we're kind of helping bridge the gap and leveraging resources, which is really important. I think this is going to continue on for many, many more months. And then, we don't know what this winter is going to bring. We don't know if people are going to have to shut back down at some point. So we're certainly, cautiously optimistic, but there continues to be a need across our 3-county footprint, and certainly across the state and country.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And Selena, that was such an important and moving story. So where are folks finding jobs?
So of course you have to, there's a lot of employment that's out here. However, a lot of the need is with parents who they're having to make a tough decision. Do I send my children back to school and I don't know how safe it is, or do I wait for the unemployment? So we're having to, of course, think about that need as well. But there are opportunities for employment out there, definitely. And so that's one of the steps of our program as well. So we can actually help them attain employment, of course, connect them with other local resources and partners surrounding the area. But so you probably have about 50-50 when it comes to who's going back to work and who can't because of health issues or having children at home.
Right, good. And I guess the emergency family leave, all of that has expired.
To my understanding, they can still apply for that. However, SCDO is really backlogged right now. So they're still working through those cases and pending those cases. So in a lot of instances, they're having to actually appeal to be able to get those benefits through the FMLA.
Okay, all right. Thank y'all.
Sure. Thank you, Erin. Amy's got a question.
Yeah, I was wondering, I'm always interested in knowledge sharing and collaboration. So my question for Susan and Claire is, to what degree have you talked with other universities to either learn from them or to share what you have done? Is there some kind of knowledge sharing among universities, either in this state or even beyond?
There is knowledge sharing. We actually, that beeping will go off in a second, by the way. We actually did an assessment with all of those in our area, the top 25 universities, the ones that are in our group. And we went to each of those universities and we tried to see what it was that they were going to be doing and how they were going to doing. And what we found was that they were looking to Clemson to see what it is that we were going to be doing. And we're looking to like USC and some of the bigger schools to see what their plan was and what they were going to do. But Clemson started so early on theirs back, the end of February, the 1st of March, that we were so far ahead on that we were already making ideas and changing things. And then we were going to each university to find out what was their plan. How were they going to do housing? How are they going to do, how are they going to move the students? What happens if, once the students came back, what were they going to do? I mean, it's a huge moving parts that are going on that we've got, for the Watt Center, we're using the technology in all of these different rooms to put all of these people together, because of course you can't be together. But as far as the other universities, and Claire, correct me if I'm wrong, I mean, we were doing research for hours upon hours at every university to see what their plan was, and it changed daily. So we may do the top 25 schools this year, or the top 20 schools this week, and then we'd have to turn around and do them again to get more information, because as you know, everything is changing day by day, hour by hour. I mean, we're running an active VOC in the building right now upstairs, and we could leave this meeting, go upstairs, and we have different things to do because now this decision's been made and we have to help enact that decision. Claire?
Yeah, what I want to most celebrate about what we were up to is that neither Susan nor I or the Watt Center work in emergency management. We figured out how to work in emergency management because the university needed us to. We have some background, minor background in emergency management with some classes, but it is not our day job. We figured out that the university had a need And we decided that we would put in the nights and weekends and work 7 days a week for 6 months, because that's how the things were gonna happen. So that's how we were gonna have a fall semester. It mattered to us that we could use what we had to make a difference for the university. And so we just decided that we would not have a summer, not have a spring, barely have a beginning of the fall, and just make it happen and get the people connected in a way that they could make decisions that mattered for people to have lives again, to not be in quarantine, or to be in quarantine in a new version, to modify our operations in a safe manner.
That sounds very gratifying. That's outstanding. Oh,
yeah, I have a quick, yes, Michael, thank you so much. I have a quick question to the Reacts team. So what's your immediate roadblock? What kind of help do you need? We have in-house 8 radiologists, data we got. So what's your key roadblock that's stopping you from proceeding further? What kind of help do you need?
Honestly, the key roadblock right now is just general resources. We don't have any strong partnerships yet or anything like that. We're looking right now. As Michael said, we are a spinoff of Clemson University. And then one of the other areas that limits us is clinical side, right? We can do in vitro testing, and we can even do some animal testing at Clemson, but we don't really have any clinical collaborators right now at this point.
Yeah, that's totally agreeable. We had a little hard time, and once we couldn't get some US help, we used international help. Finally, after 4 or 5 months of effort, we got into medical university. They had over 200 technologies up there, so we were able to get there. So we'll connect offline and see what we can actually do to provide.
I appreciate it.
Perfect. Shrikant, you have just, and I saw Amy smiling when you had your question there.
That was going to be my question too, is what can we do to help?
Sure. I mean, what you just saw, that exchange is precisely what keeps us going here at Innovision. When we see people connecting. So first of all, it's exciting to see these various innovations right here in our backyard. That is exciting unto itself. But when we can see people connecting between them and making things happen, that's where we really smile and feel that the efforts that all of the members of the board and so forth. In fact, I might ask the board members as well to maybe show their hands. I saw Chris was here, Karen, Amy, Aaron. I'm sure I've missed somebody here.
Blaine and Hunter.
Okay, right, okay. So we're running 3 screens right now, so trying to see them all is a challenge. Ralph, one thing that we've talked about in previous Meet the Finalists sessions was collaborations and so forth. Is there any collaborations going on in terms of your swab? Like you said, I hope I never need it, right? But I think I read somewhere that you're thinking of going to an injection mold and so forth. So I'm assuming there's some other potential partners there.
Yeah, Michael, thanks for asking. I was just shocked at the people that came forward and wanted to help. And so we had help at all levels. So SCRA and the SCRA launch program stepped up with technical advice, contacts, lots of connections. Prisma, particularly Jenny Meredith and her lab, they did extensive testing of our swabs and gave us quick feedback. We, in fact, had hospitals test our swabs and quickly allow us to prototype. We went through something like 15 prototypes to get to the final design. But we had hospitals in Indiana, Massachusetts, Colorado, as well as South Carolina. We do have an injection mold partner here in South Carolina. We looked at local partners for packaging and sterilization, but ended up with a company in New Jersey. One of our major customers is here in South Carolina. CPT Medical is a kidder, and they were extremely helpful because they need non-sterile swabs. So they put in their kits and then they sterilize them. So that enabled us to start sales very quickly while our sterilization plan was getting approved before we start sterilization. And no doubt I'm forgetting hundreds of people. Let me think a minute. So the Greenville development, let's see, I mix up GADC and their partners here, but they stepped up with a loan to help us get tooling very quickly, which was extremely helpful. People introduced us to customers. We have a distributed sales team across the US, and they were extremely helpful about quickly turning from medical devices to swabs. And like I say, I'm sure I forgot people. It's kind of just amazing to see the community step forward and rally around the need. And it's nice to hear that other teams have seen the same thing, and many of you have stepped up and volunteered yourselves. Thanks, Michael.
Sure. No, thank you, Will. We might have time for one more question. Is there one out there? Or... No? Okay. Well, great. This has been exciting. And I really, we are very excited and gratified to see the connections beginning, and certainly don't let this be the end of it. Hopefully you're taking some notes on various people who have described their innovation today, and certainly reach out to them as Shrikant did, and where you see some connections that could be made. That's from our perspective, that's what Innovision is all about. So this has been great. When things were so uncertain back in March and April, all of you just got busy. It's so inspiring to see so many of you working hard to adapt to what you did to address this kind of nasty situation we all found ourselves in. So you shifted your research, you adapted a product line, or you found a new way to solve one of the many challenges that we faced. So it gives us hope for the future. So great job, everyone. In fact, why don't we give all of our finalists a big Zoom applaud, hand, yelling, screaming, whatever comes to you. Great job, all of you. So you're all winners, certainly in our book. Amy, do you want to have tell us about a few things yet to come?
Well, yet to come, the award celebration, November 17th, 3:30 to 5, when winners in these categories, as well as our recurring categories that we've had for 20 years or so, will be named. Another great time to use that microphone. One of the reasons we wanted microphones was so that when we had Zoom calls, we would be able to see a microphone and know that was a finalist. So we're hoping to see you there. This is our first Zoom award celebration. The positives are great in that no one has to travel. There is no fee for a dinner. You can invite your friends, family, colleagues, customers, prospective customers, vendors, etc. So we'll continue to celebrate through November 17th, and we look forward to seeing you there.
Absolutely. So unfortunately, the negative, no dinner, but I guess you can supply that yourselves. So this is the last of our Meet the Finalist receptions. We hope that I see a number of faces who have joined us through a few of them. Great to have you back and so forth. And again, I'll echo Amy's comments. Remember, November 17th, we'll be starting at, I believe, 3:30. And hope to see you all there. Invite friends, family, and so forth. And so until then, go forth and prosper. Thank you for joining.